Before we get started, I just wanted to thank Southern Edge Knife Works for providing me the subject of today's review. Great place to buy Protechs. Go check them out at southernedgeknifeworks.com for not just Protechs, all kinds of stuff. Use the code SDSEK at checkout, get 15% off and free shipping. Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Protech TR-3 X1 Operator Series. And a more overall, just in general review of the TR-3. The Operator Series is just one of the many, many, many versions you can get of this knife, and one of the many, many versions of the TR Series, period. They come in the 2, 3, 4, and 5 variants. The 3 is their most popular, and it's easy to understand why. It is kind of a universally sort of loved size, 3.5-inch blade, 8-inch overall. Very, very popular sort of EDC size. The Operator Series, as the name would indicate, is designed for, special tactical type of people. No logos anywhere on the knife. Everything's all blacked out, except for on the fire button, you have a little bit of tritium there, which you can kind of see glowing a little bit. Tritium is a material, it is radioactive, which means you don't have to charge it with a flashlight or anything. It's not quite as bright as, some of your more conventional glow-in-the-dark stuff, but again, you never have to charge it. It's not dangerous. Just don't eat it. Just don't swallow this knife and you'll be fine. I think even that tiny amount, you could probably swallow it and be all right. But I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. But anyway, they're kind of going through a few of their models with this operator treatment. I know they did the Auto Strider SNG this way. So, I assume there'll be some more coming out in this Operator Series too, but it looks really cool. It also has the fish scale pattern on the handles, whereas the normal TR3, the base one, just has, some normal horizontal striations. This one is $250. You may not be able to find one. Not going to lie to you about that. My usual places that I look are sold out, but I'm glad I got my hands on one. But the basic TR3 starts out at $150, and pretty much everything I say, including even the blade steel, is the same. So consider this a TR3 review that happens to be a really evil-looking operator. So let's do some specs and size comparisons before we get too much farther. And all these specs do apply to the standard as well. So you have an overall length of 8 inches, blade length of 3.5 inches, blade thickness of 0.13 inches. You have a handle thickness of 0.49 inches and a weight of 3.68 ounces, which, golf clap, that's exactly what it weighed. So you get the golf clap. On my little hello scales, it weighed exactly the same. All right, now let's do some size comparisons. We'll start out with some of the usuals. We'll bring out a couple other Protechs. You have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. This here represented in the Spy 27 lightweight. And as you can see, it's much closer to a PM2 size than the Para 3. Bring out our other usuals, Benchmades. We have your full-size Griptilian, and happens to be another completely blacked out knife. We have the full-size Bug Out. So again, little closer to the size of a full-size grip than the Bug Out. And now, bring out a couple other Protechs here because I have a few. But I'm just gonna bring out 2. I'm gonna go through the whole collection. I don't want to have a long day here. We'll start out with the SBR. Chose these 2 because they're both kind of, sort of, I don't know, beefier, semi-tactical-y kind of knives, even though one is pretty small, and the Invictus. So you can see again, obviously much closer in size to the Invictus. The Invictus is a little bit longer. And needs me to clean the blade. Wow. I got some sticky stuff in there. I don't know what I cut with that. Brian should check these before he starts reviews, he says to himself. But now let's talk more about this knife. The blade, 154 cm steel, which some people still don't like at this price range. Again, keep in mind the base model, this is 150. It doesn't bother me that much. It's really good steel. A whole lot of autos use it because it's a very tough steel. So when you're going that kabang, it's you're not going to chip it or anything like that. It's easy to sharpen. I do know that I did ask Dave at Protech, Dave Wattenberg that runs the company, about CPM 154 instead of 154 CM, and he said, they just don't notice that much of a difference to justify the price hike. Now, A lot of their new stuff is in S35VN. I know the Newport is an S35VN. I know that the Malibu's in 20CV, so they do make stuff in other steels, but a lot of their traditional automatics are still in 154CM. The way I understand it is a lot of their knives, if it started out with that steel, it's probably the steel it's going to stick with. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, it's a really great blade shape. This is definitely a tactical knife, even in its other forms. TR stands for tactical response. I mean, obviously that's what it's meant for. But it is still just a really good usable blade shape. Just a simple drop point. A really nice fuller here on the top, which unfortunately the black coating kind of hides that a little bit. But yeah, it's a really, really, really good blade shape. Very thin behind the edge, very slicey. Fortunately, my calipers are broken right now, so I can't give you the exact thickness, but it's nothing that would it would make anybody freak out or anything like that. But I really do love the blade on this a whole lot, for sure. Ergo's also excellent. Pocket clip, still a little big. I seem to always complain about that with Protechs. This is a different one completely. This is a Benchmade pattern, screw pattern here. So you can change it. You can see, but there is a landing pattern, you know, that's left out of the milling for the little scales. That won't matter if you have a non-fish scale pattern or a non-tactical response version. They're just pure flat on this side. But do keep that in mind if you have one of these. You can't really put much of a shorter pocket clip because of that. So, but for me, it's not a big deal, but I can feel the pocket clip. I wouldn't call it a hot spot, but it's there. I wouldn't mind if that pocket clip stopped like right here. I think that would be just a little bit better. And this knife doesn't weigh squat. I mean, well, it's not light, 3.68, but still it doesn't need a big giant pocket clip on it like that. But as a tactical knife, I guess I kind of get it. I'm kind of talking myself into not being so mad about it as it goes on, but it's just I can feel the pocket clip and I just wish it was smaller. But other than that, the ergos are outstanding. I love the jimping and the shape right here for your thumb to land. It is perfectly placed for my thumbs anyway, and just makes it, you're locked in this sucker, especially with this fish scale pattern. This thing ain't going nowhere in your hand. The finish that they use is really nice. You can still slide it into the pocket super easy, but it does give a lot of grip. Even if this was completely smooth, I have, several Protechs, and even a completely smooth handle one, like the SBR. The SBR is a little slicker, but still, it just does give you a bit of that feeling. This is more aggressive than what the SBR is, but still, it is just kind of a, I don't know what to call it. It's not like a sandpaper quite, but it does have some grippiness to it. And I really do like that. You definitely do feel very, very securely locked in with this knife for sure. Reverse grip works well, all those things. Ergos are really, really good, except that pocket clip is just a little bit longer than I would like, because I can just feel that ramp just a tiny little bit. Plenty of room for your thick tactical pants and all that stuff, tactical jeans, tactical whatever you're going to stick it in. Sorry, I had to pause and look for Yale Levi's here for a minute to do the carry thing. I found them last review I did. I couldn't find them. Does carry pretty good. It's not like super deep carry or anything like that. But again, you can see, you can hear that. That's just from the texture there. You can hear it going in and out. But it doesn't doesn't cause you any holdup or nothing like that. But it's just enough to give you that extra little bit of retention too. As I said, it's better for your grip, but also it does retain in the pocket a little bit. But when you're standing up and actually wearing pants, super easy to get in and out. Not a whole lot sticking out, and especially in this operator series, it's pretty discreet. It's just black sticking out of there. I really do like the carbonized pocket clip. I think that's what you call it. Somebody will correct me in the comments, I'm sure, in a very nice way if I was wrong. But it carries pretty well. Hand passed it, no problem. Again, 3.68 ounces. Not a lightweight like a lot of Protechs are, but it's not bad at all. Yeah, I think it carries pretty well. I have no issues with it whatsoever. Onto the action on this thing. It's a Protech. I don't know. I kind of thought tactical response, maybe it was going to hit even harder than some of the other Protechs. I'm glad that it doesn't, because a lot of them do kick really, really hard. Even the more gentlemanly knives, like the Newport, kicks like the proverbial mule. So I'm glad this isn't like a, going to go flying out of your hand kind of knife. It is not at all. It's just got the usual Protech kick, which is mighty. is more than anyone needs. Feels very smooth on closing. Easy to close one-handed, as you can see. I really do enjoy opening almost any Protech. This is no exception. I'm not going to call it better or worse than any of them. Just grab another one here. It's the Invictus. It's kind of the same as that. What did I get on this blade? I'm obsessed now with what is on that. It's sticky. Guess I'll have to figure that out later, because it's bothering me now. One tiny little thing on the action. This is stupid. This is just me being an idiot. You will notice earlier on in this video, this button was straight. And when I got it out of the box, it wasn't straight. It looked kind of like this. And I was like, what? What is, they didn't even, the button straight. Well, you moron, it's a fire button. It's going to rotate. They just do that as you open and close it. They're going to rotate. So like, I was like, you can turn it and straighten it. See, when you have it open, you can just kind of push in and turn it, and, you know, but it's going to move around. It's never going to look completely, perfectly straight all the time. So if you're really OCD about that, just know that sometimes it's going to look a bit off. I didn't expect that. So when I first opened it up, I thought it was like I might have to take this thing apart and change the button around, because not the sharpest tool in the shed. But anyway, overall, I really, really like this. I love the operator version. I think it looks really cool, blacked out like this. I think having this in my pocket makes me 15% more badass, which gives me a grand total of 20% badass when I have this in my pocket. But even if you don't want the operator series, and a lot of people aren't going to want that. A lot of people aren't going to want the full-line tactical look. There are so many different versions. As I said, starting at 150, going up to God knows with Protech. You can do all kinds of custom stuff when they have them out. They're customs, but they're what Protech decides to make as a custom. So just keep an eye out, though. I saw a really cool one on, I think it was Blade HQ, with a red blade that looked really awesome. You get the rose gold ones. I still don't want a rose gold Protech. I really need to remedy that. But it's a really cool knife. Yes, it is a tactical response, and it definitely does feel like a tactical knife. But it doesn't. It's still a very good EDC knife as well. I've been using it a lot since I've had it for a couple weeks now, I think, and I haven't bothered to do a video on it. But really handy. I haven't done any super heavy duty cutting with it yet, but so far the coating's holding up well. This is a knife that I almost wouldn't mind if the coating got scratched up a little bit. Just makes it look even more kind of tactical and used and all that stuff. But it seems to be holding up well. Really, really cool knife. And especially if you can get this operator version, if you can get your hands on one at $250, I think it's worth it. But as far as the value goes, it's the $150, you know, because the steel is, some people are going to complain about it, but I disagree. But anyway, really, really cool knife. Go check it out. Typical Protech quality, all the usual great Protech stuff. And this one makes you 15% more badass. It's science. It's just science. You can't argue with it. I've been Brian. Have a good one.